Hello, my name is Stephanie Santiago. My term paper focuses on situational stress in the hotel industry. My main focus was worker stress, specifically situational stress, which is stress arising from certain conditions that exist in the world environment or in the worker's personal life, and that includes work overload, interpersonal stress, emotional labor. Um, I worked at a hotel as a server attendant, and I was expected for multitasking, providing outstanding customer service, create and sustain work relationships. Having to do all of this on top of working holiday shifts was extremely difficult because we would get a full restaurant, 300 plus reservations. Um, Although servers would be expected to have only 8 to 10 tables, I would manage 2 to 3 servers, meaning I would technically be responsible for half the restaurant on a really busy day. Um, the managers would occasionally be on the floor, but they wouldn't really help. They would just look and see what people were doing. And then they would go back to their offices. Communication was really crucial during these shifts, but it was a lot to have to communicate and interact with server, hosts, bartenders, and that meant that my job made me rely on their abilities and their effectiveness at the same time. Um, I also, it being a busy schedule and a busy day, um, we were still me we were still expected to give the best service, and a lot of these times, we would get a lot of complaints for people having to wait or things weren't being done as fast. It came from everywhere, from the kitchen, from the bar, from servers, from me, from being a server attendant. So it was a lot going on, and it was very, very stressful. Problems having to do with situational stressors is that work overload stems from excessive work speed, focus, and productivity, which can cause emotional exhaustion. Stress in the work environment is costly for organization because it contributes to expensive voluntary turnover. The hospitality industry is stressful because of the demands of the company, supervisors, and guests. Yeah, I mean, I felt all of these things. I was very exhausted and very stressed out after almost every shift, sorry. And after these holiday shifts were crazy busy, and having to manage all my tasks and having to manage everything, all the demands from managers, from servers, hosts, everyone, was really exhausting. And on top of that is having to manage all of that. you know i couldn't I couldn't show it. I had to keep a smile on my face. I had to make the best out of the situation I was in. um and it does affect productivity. I found a research paper by John O'Neill and Kelly Davis. They kind of had three focuses on the paper: to identify common work stressors, to determine whether there were differences in the types and frequencies of work stresses by job type, gender, and marital status, and to investigate whether the various stressors were linked to hotel employee health and work outcomes. They found that two of the most common stresses were interpersonal tensions at work and overloads, which is something that I definitely dealt with. So it was really helpful to see that this is the common thing that people stress over. Hotel managers reported significantly more stressors than hourly employees, and I think that also affects why we also don't see a lot of management on the floor. or help out with the flow of the restaurant since they already have their own stress on the side. But I mean, that does affect everyone else in the restaurant. There was no significant differences between gender and marital status, and it was linked to more negative physical health symptoms, which you can see includes headaches, fatigue, indigestions, of blood pressure, heart attacks, and strokes. I definitely experienced some of those throughout some of my shifts or just in general. I was after being very stressed out. So I believe that a solution is organizational coping stress, which is that situational stresses can be reduced by better communication between management and employees. That'll definitely help out that there's not that fear between management and employees, that we can have a better sense of communication and being able to discuss problems, a sense of control in restaurant environments. And that I feel like could go hand in hand with the first one because, I feel like management does need to be around on the floor and kind of have that control over what's going on in the restaurant and not leave it up to just employees when there are certain situations that they cannot control. Providing supportive and team oriented work environment, that is very essential because having to make relationships with other employees to be able to get my own job done and to have a positive flow in the restaurant means that we can't we have to rely on each other and make sure that everyone is being helpful with each other. And this also goes with eliminated punitive management because a lot of the times, if certain things don't go certain ways in the restaurant and we kind of get into problems, it'll just be an effect of everyone trying to blame each other, either servers blaming hosts or servers or whoever blaming the kitchen, or for certain things that a certain um, customer or guest does not like, and that'll only affect the communication and the support system that the restaurant will have. So, these are things that we cannot punish servers or certain server attendants for a certain way that a guest reacts, because it'll just lead to more stress and disaster in a restaurant. And yeah, so thank you for listening. If you have any questions, just write them down, let me know, and I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you.